It's 2 p.m. Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Ermanni Edwards Maz. Ryan Ermanni won't be joining us today, but friend of the show who you guys come to know well, Anson Wells, will be with us. What's up, Anson?
Not much, man. Sun is kind of out, but I was just...
You're looking sharp, my brother. What's going on here? You got the tie, the slacks, the socks, the shoes. What's going on, brother?
I was just trying to get up to your level.
I'm a polo shirt kind of guy, man, you know?
And we didn't even call each other for this.
We did not.
We look good, though.
Light blue and light blue is my favorite color, as well as my mom's.
Ryan Ermanni's got a hell of a jump shot.
You saw that in the Open, right?
He's an athlete. He's a secret athlete, huh?
So funny about that. Tom Maswell, we welcome you into the show as well. How's your day going?
I'm all right, buddy. And I'm in the T-shirt. I'm the slouch of the family here.
Well, you know, it's nothing like the Vegas Raiders, and that's who he's representing today.
Still the Oakland Raiders to me.
You remember that day we were downtown, we were at Campus Martius. What is it called? It's called, what do they call it? The nickname.
I forgot. I wasn't there that day.
It's not the runaway. We'll come back to it. But anyway, Ryan Ermanni, he sees everybody's playing basketball while we're on there doing the show. He says, I can go make that shot. Gets up during one of our commercial breaks. We get the footage. In fact, I told him, step back, Ryan. That's the shot for you. Step back without hesitation. As soon as he released it, we knew it was going in. And that's our opening now.
One
Ryan
shot.
Ermanni.
Just one shot.
Hey, look, he never came out the game. Never came out the game. That's his claim to fame. Ryan Ermanni. We'll see you next week. Tom Maswell, how's your Friday going, man? Pete?
I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's going to be a good one. I got nothing to do, which is the best part of my weekend. When I have nothing really to do, that's my kind of weekend. No weddings, no nothing. Let's have at it, man.
I like
Preakness is tomorrow. My second jewel of the Triple Crown of horse racing.
Who are you putting your money on, Maz?
Well, it's really a boring race. Only 7 horses in the race. Had a good scratch. One of the better horses got scratched out of it. So the favorite is Mystic Dan, the Kentucky Derby winner, who I thought had a lucky trip in that Derby, and he won. I'm rooting for him to win again. I just don't think he could sweep all 3, but that's who I'm rooting for.
Wait a second. There's a horse named Mugatu?
Let me see.
Straight from Zoolander?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Long shot, 20 to 1.
Yep,
I know that at Kentucky, was it whichever the first one was,
Kentucky Derby.
It was a long shot, right?
Well, Mystic Dan.
So let's keep it going with Mugatu.
No. We want Mystic Dan to win. So
Triple Crown.
He has a chance to win all 3.
I want Mugatu.
I like the number 9, Imagination. That's who I like to pull the upset. Number 9, Imagination. That's my upset pick.
They're leaked.
You could have used your imagination to its fullest, and it still wouldn't have been able to come up with what happened this morning to Scottie Scheffler.
Wow.
That's how I planned on spending my weekend. Scottie Scheffler gets arrested the morning before the second round of the PGA Championship.
On his way to his tee time.
On his way to his tee time, as Pete puts up the footage right now. This is after they already have gotten him in handcuffs. Do we have the Jeff Darlington so we can get exactly what happened? So I don't butcher. Go ahead, take your time, Pete. So I don't butcher what happened. Scottie Scheffler, number 1 golfer in the world, the guy that I always put my money on as he was driving in this morning to get warmed up before his round. He was arrested due to Jeff Darlington will tell us exactly what was going on. And here we go from Jeff Darlington.
Valhalla Golf Club this morning, we witnessed a car pull around us that was Scottie Scheffler was in the car. To be very clear about the details here, Scottie Scheffler has been detained by police officers, placed in the back of a police vehicle in handcuffs after he tried to pull around what he believed to be security. Ended up being police officers. They told him to stop. When he didn't stop, the police officer attached himself to the vehicle. Scheffler then traveled another 10 yards before stopping the car. The police officer then grabbed at his arm, attempting to pull him out of the car before Scheffler eventually opened the door, at which point the police officer pulled Scheffler out of the car, pushed him up against the car, and immediately placed him in handcuffs. Scheffler was then walked over to the police car, placed in the back in handcuffs, very stunned about what was happening, looked toward me as he was in those handcuffs and said, "Please help me." He very clearly did not know what was happening in the situation. It moved very quickly, very rapidly, very aggressively. He was detained in that police vehicle for approximately 20 minutes. The police officers at that point did not understand that Scottie Scheffler was a golfer in the tournament, nor, of course, that he is the #1 player in the world.
But before I get into Anson, your reaction, Maz, your thoughts, your reaction, there was a statement that was released. This is by Scottie Scheffler's attorney in the early hours of the morning. In advance of his tee time, Scottie was going to the course and begin his pre-round preparation due to the combination of event traffic and traffic fatality in the area. It was a very chaotic situation. His proceeding as directed by another traffic officer and driving a marked player's vehicle with credentials visible. Now, we'll get into the rest of that. Jeff Darlington pretty much explained all this. Appreciate you right there.
The lawyer says he did nothing wrong, basically.
100%.
That's what he's supposed to say.
And before we get into right, wrong, what happened, Maz, I will say that he did make his tee time, and on the first hole, he did get a birdie.
And there was a standing O, baby.
As it should be. And right now, he's currently, I want to say, 4 under on the day. He's sitting in third place, 8 under for the tournament. Answer was your thoughts on it right now.
He's at 9 under now, leading the pack, tied up with 2 others.
There we go. So he's in second place right now.
And he led off, hitting into the rough, still saved birdie.
Yeah, he did.
I want to know, at what point of police training do they include vehicle latching at a golf course at 7 a.m.?
Yeah.
So to me, this sounds like a whole lot of overzealous policing and a little bit of player entitlement. You've got police officers wearing rain gear, in the dark, in the rain. It's not easy to know who these people are. And then you've also got the PGA, taking a vehicle that's a courtesy vehicle, has the P on it. They've been instructed to drive around these people. You're at a golf course, okay? This isn't in the middle of the riots 4 years ago, and you've got somebody trying to drive through a pack of people. This is a guy who's trying to go around, and you've got a police officer that didn't de-escalate, but in fact escalated this to the point that we're talking about it right now.
Tom Mazaway, your thoughts on the same situation? I agree a lot with what you say, Anson. I'll wait to Big Maz.
I couldn't agree more with Anson. To the T.
Yeah.
To the absolute T. And now the police officer had to go to the hospital. He had some abrasions on his wrist. Again, making himself a human fly on Scottie's car. Now, he shouldn't have done that, and Scottie probably should not have driven as well. But here's the kicker. You hit it. Overzealous police, a guy trying to get to do his job, and a little maybe of, hey, I'm Scottie Scheffler, get the hell out of my way. But he's not that kind of guy, from what I understand. The way he puts himself out there, he's a man of God. He is a family guy. He's not a showboat. He's not John Daly. This is a guy that just wants to do his job, go home to his family. He's trying to get to his job. It's dark. How did he know there's a fatality? I'm just saying. I couldn't say it better than Anson did. Overzealous police and maybe an entitled golfer. A little. But he's trying to get to his job, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I like what you guys both said. What I will say is I believe this is on the fault of the PGA. It's the fault of the PGA. 100% the cop. Overzealous, took his job way a little bit too much serious. He could have understood the situation, what it was. He chose not to. He chose to try to be a hero in that moment. But this is on the PGA. Look, I've been to events, Maz, Anson. I've gone to events where they tell you a thing. Hey, look, when you come in, there'll be somebody waiting for you. That person will point you in the direction in which you're supposed to go. That person will take you to the next spot, the next turn, or the next whatever. That's what the PGA should have done. I don't care how early the incident was. And by the way, family thoughts goes out to the families of the individuals that died today in that crash or in that situation. But this is on the PGA. The PGA should have had somebody in place so that they can direct traffic between the police officers and between Scottie Scheffler. There's no reason that someone playing this tournament who's driving by himself has to deal with the situation where he doesn't know what's going on. This guy doesn't look like a necessary police officer, maybe a security guard or so. He's just trying to get to the tee box so he can hit a few warm-up shots, and he had to deal with that. I think the PGA completely dropped the ball in this situation.
And it's a situation that's pretty hard to script for.
Yeah.
It's a very unfortunate situation, but it's one that if they wanted to avoid a situation like this, they needed to have some of their officials right there, making sure that they knew who the golfers were that needed to get in versus the people that were just trying to be there to watch. I mean, it's an unfortunate situation all around. Yeah. I don't really see much coming out of it, though, in the end.
Yeah, I don't see much coming out of it as Scottie Scheffler just hits an immaculate shot out of the rough, and it might go in, and it stayed up and hung up. So that's the birdie that you will see Anson Wells. But, yeah, I don't see much coming out of it as well. I think the PGA will get with the people in Georgia, the police department, law enforcement, and figure out the situation and get it easily closed. I don't necessarily think he did any wrong. I want to see the video. I wish they had video of the dragging. I think that's the
we all want to see that.
But I think
we will.
I think that's the only thing in this moment right now where you're like, maybe there could be some repercussions because of that. Outside of that, this is a nothing burger, I think, for Scottie Scheffler. Yeah.
We'll find out. But, everything is going to come out about it now. And hopefully it just ends. Just end it. Let the guy play. Hopefully the police officer's okay. And our thoughts and prayers obviously go out to the poor guy that was hit by the shuttle.
Yeah, he's definitely playing golf right now. Somebody said Mike G. You got to show Mike G love in the chat. Been with us since day one. He said he was trying to play through. I thought that was pretty good joke. I had to mention it.
That was very good.
That was very
well
good.
Played.
I saw another joke that said somebody was complaining like this is an impossible situation. Never seen anything like this happen. And one of the comments read, "Oh, sure, like we've never seen a number one golfer have car problems on day 2.
Hey.
I thought that was a pretty good one, too, talking about you know who. You know who else had problems last night?
Denver?
Oh
Didn't even show up.
Like, what team? First of all, before we get into the game, I know you're eager to break it down. Joel, I know you're over there chomping at the bit to get into this game. The NBA just can't figure out and get it right. Like, how are we having blowouts every night in the second round of the playoffs and just going back and forth, back and forth? Largest playoff margin of victory. 45 points last night. The Timberwolves beat the Denver Nuggets. That's the highest playoff margin victory since 2015. What was up before we dive into the game itself? What's up with the back and forth blowouts? What's going on with that, Anson? You speak the language of basketball. Talk to us.
I mean, I'm going to go conspiracy again here. I'm looking at all the fouls on Minnesota when they win, and they're low. And when they lose, they're high. This isn't one of the best, if not the best defensive team in the NBA. And if you let the game go, they're going to be a tough out. If you're calling calls, you're blowing the whistle a lot, and you've got the new big fundamental in the Joker. And this is a guy that if you allow the defense to play the way they want, he's going to struggle like he did last night. But at the same point, if you're calling a tight game, that's a finesse team in Denver. It's not a team that's going to, outwork you physically. They're going to out-finesse you. And if the refs are calling a game that goes that way, where you're putting those guys on the line and you're stopping play often, it's going to go Denver's way, which is what's going to happen in Game 7. As I told you guys after they were down 0-2 that they would come back and win this game in 7. But what they have done in this series is they've displayed their next thing.
Yeah.
And as much as we love SGA, the ferocity, the high flying, even the rumor, just the smoke of the idea of this being Jordan's offspring, they have hand selected the heir apparent, and I said that with an H and an AIR, the heir apparent to the NBA, and that, well, it's going to be his season next year. It's not this one.
Yeah, man, as you watch the game and you're looking at the box score right now, outside of Jaden McDaniels gave you 21 points. Nobody stepped up at all on the Minnesota Timberwolves team. I mean, him and himself had 27, 4, and 4, but yet they win by 45. Like, what do you make of the game if you even finished watching it, man?
I didn't finish watching it. I kept looking at the score. I was on the hockey game, but once they took the lead, Denver got out to a quick lead. Remember that?
Yeah, it did.
And then once they broke them, it was over.
Yeah.
It was over. And they didn't even try. Neither team really tried. It was like a practice game after that. Mike Malone was imploring them at the break, "Look, man, we got time yet. We can do this. We can do." They didn't even listen to him. Yeah. They came out and just laid down. They did not try in that second half, the Denver Nuggets.
That was an NBA experienced championship squad.
Yep.
Like, are we going to just try and break it down and get back to within 10 here on the road? No, we're going home.
Yep,
for
we
Game
quit.
7.
They quit.
We know the whistle's going to get blown. See you in the Western Conference Finals.
That's it. They'll play Game 7 at home, and it's been tough to win at home. Each team has won once on their home floor. So let's see what happens in Denver on Sunday night. Looking forward to it, though.
This is going to be interesting. Somebody else is looking forward to it is Jokic, Nikola Jokic. You saw him in the whole fourth quarter, didn't play, obviously. He stood up and watched that whole fourth quarter, and just looking and seeing and assessing. And that's why when I watch him, I'm not necessarily mad at him. I'm mad at the rest of the team. I'm mad at the NBA. I'm mad at Mike Malone, but I'm not necessarily mad at Jokic. Jokic kind of, for lack of a better word, took it all in terms of what was going on, how the game was being played, what he saw. And you could tell that he's ready for Game 7. So
Yes, sir.
I love Anthony Edwards, same last name, Cuzzo, you know what it is. But when you got somebody like the Joker, it's kind of like when Tom Brady was sitting on the bench and they captured the infamous photo, what was it, against the Falcons in the Super Bowl. You knew what was coming. You knew what was cooking. I think that's what you see out of Nikola Jokic. What do they need to do, Anson, to solidify Game 7, to push Anthony Ant-Man Edwards back into this upcoming season?
That's a really good question. I mean, they have to get back to Nuggets brand of basketball. They can't.
What is that?
Well, that's a slowed down game.
Okay.
And I've seen them get caught in periods where they want to run with this team, and they're just not built to run with them. This is a team that has to get into half-court sets. They've got to run it through the big man, and they've got to get to the foul line. You look at it in every single game that Minnesota won, they're taking less than 15 fouls. Every game that they've lost has been 20 or more. So it's going to be a game that they're going to try and make physical, and Denver has to answer that physicality so that the Zebras put them on the line. But all of it comes down to slowing that game down and running it through the MVP, Nikola Jokic.
The NBA is not the only playoffs on right now. Currently, the NHL is on as well.
Wow.
Yesterday, we had Ken Holland on, the GM for
Legend.
the Edmonton Oilers, but we know him here, the Detroit Red Wings, 25 years, 3 Stanley Cups. Last night, though, his squad, they were upended by the Canucks 3-2. They nipped them out. Maz, talk about this game, and then we'll get into the next one. But
I stayed up late for this one. It was a 2-1 Edmonton, then Vancouver tied it, and then they win it in the third with 32 seconds to go. They put the game winner in. That's the way this series has been going. Game number 4 before that, Oilers scored with 32 seconds to go to win that game. So here you go. Vancouver takes that home ice advantage back to Edmonton coming up this weekend. Looking forward to that one. So Oilers are on the ropes. They got to win to stay alive. But the game of the year was the Rangers in Carolina.
There it is.
That was the game prior to this. Carolina was up 3-1. And had they won that game, they would have forced a Game 7 back at MSG on Saturday night. But the Rangers come up with 4 goals in the third period.
That's nuts.
Natural hat trick by Ryan Kreidler. He was solid. He scored 3 in a row in the third period. And I mean, they shocked. Carolina didn't know what hit them. They literally looked around like, what the hell happened?
no help over here.
The fans looked like ghosts. And the Rangers, the President's Trophy winners, showed their mettle. They're going to be tough out now. Now that they beat Carolina, next up will be Boston or Florida. They play tonight. Whoever wins that series against the Rangers, they don't have a chance against the Rangers. Neither one of those two teams.
What the heck is going on in your Empire State right now,
New
my
York.
friend?
Yep. How about
What
it?
is going on?
I'm telling you, there's some magic right now at the Garden.
You're a happy
Every
man,
night.
aren't you?
I am happy. I'm not a big Ranger fan, but I'm happy for the New York fans.
Yeah.
My buddy, I was on the phone with him last night, back and forth. He's the big Ranger fan. My buddy Ralph Focaraccio back home in Jersey. And I'm a Devil. He's a Ranger. I'm an Islander. He's a Ranger. When it was 3-1, I told him, look out, man. And he was like, all right, we'll be ready for Game 7. And then Carolina hit a post and a crossbar. They missed a wide open net, and they had a breakaway, and they didn't score. And I wrote him, I'm like, I bet you the Rangers come back in this game. They score, make it 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, empty netter, 5-3. That's hockey. The team that dominates but doesn't score and doesn't extend their lead loses that game. It always happens in hockey. It's amazing.
Maz, we talk about it every year, Anson. I know you haven't been around, but this is what Maz and I talk about. No, in terms of this conversation, NBA, NFL, MLB, it doesn't matter. Every year, the NHL has the best playoffs. The NHL just seems to find a way.
Fantastic.
Like every game, I remember last year and the year before and the year before, every series went 7 games. Like everything goes down to overtime. It goes down to that last goal. It goes down to the medal, if you will. It's fun to watch. I mean, we're just arguing, not arguing. We're over here talking about a 45-point win
It's
in
not
the
interesting.
NBA in round 2.
It ain't entertaining.
Meanwhile, a team that was about to extend to Game 7, they allow 5 goals and they lose. Now they go home and the Rangers of New York move on. The NHL,
They get it.
You guys are both looking at me like wanting me to like hockey so bad.
Why don't
it's
you-
still ice soccer,
you don't
guys.
have to like it. I'm just simply giving
Why
the
do you
fact.
not like it?
I don't
What's to
mind
not
it.
like?
I mean, well, listen, I'm still jilted over the 90s, driving from Michigan State during the Teal years, listening to Let's Go Red Wings in the Palace. Still offended me. I'm still offended by it.
They were
Not
winning
having
cups.
a bird in or a dog in the fight for the last 15 years makes it tough. I'm just such a basketball hoops junkie that at this time of the year, I could not even fathom turning on a playoff hockey game over a playoff basketball game, even down 45 points. Sorry.
45 points is a lot of points to me now.
It is.
seemed
I
like
mean,
it-
I turned it off, but I didn't turn on hockey. Gotta
The only
be honest.
blowouts that are good in the NBA are at the Garden because it's fun. It's just a fun atmosphere. I don't know. And again, I got rose-colored glasses on. I understand. I got orange and blue glasses on.
You know,
I get it.
I remember a really fun blowout, and that was Game 5, 2004.
That was great.
Oh, my goodness.
That was so great.
They
That was
were
like
done
that
5
was like a
minutes in.
parade.
Yeah.
It was
That was like
unbelievable.
literally a parade for the entire last half of that game.
It was amazing.
It was so much
Absolutely
fun. The
amazing.
5-game sweep.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about that going to work Pistons championship.
God, I
in
love that team.
2004.
Me too,
And
man.
the crazy thing about it could have been a real sweep
Yes.
if they would have fouled Shaq in Game 2.
Yes,
But
sir.
That's
It all
neither.
worked out.
Speak the truth, my friend.
Hey, you see, I know a
Speak
little
the
somewhat.
truth, my
Foul
friend.
Shaq. Why you don't foul Shaq? You let him pass to Kobe. Kobe hits the 3, goes overtime. They win.
I've been
But
reading.
They won, so it's water under the bridge.
I've been reading about Kobe Bryant and how close he came to becoming a Piston.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
real thing.
Do you really you think
Oh, yeah.
that's true?
He
I
mostly
know-
shut it down, though.
What was the deal going to be?
It wasn't him that shut it down. It was Jerry Buss that came
Oh,
back and
really?
shut it down because Jerry Buss put the rings on the table. I get the.
remember?
I get the story hazy, but I know someone that was
Rip,
there.
Rip was part of it.
Shout out to I know Rip. Also shout out to George David, associate GM with the Pistons. But
I wonder what would have happened. I wonder
they
what
were
would have.
close. Kobe wanted out. They didn't want to pay at first. Like he wanted to be gone. He hated the situation with Shaq. Blah blah blah. And then they put the rings on the table and they said, "You can be special here. Can't be special there. You have to go fit into a system if you go there. Here, it's your team." And then they upped the ante, they upped the money.
He would have been so special here.
Yeah.
Don't give me that. I mean, I don't mean you, but they made a great pitch to keep him, and they
They
had
did.
to.
I'm
I
just
mean,
wondering
They,
what
they
would
went
have
and got
happened.
Paul
we
Gasol.
would have won championships, my friend. That's what would have happened.
They
Because
went-
instead of AI being here,
Yeah.
we still would have had Mr. Big Shot throwing the rock to Kobe Bean Bryant.
Jerry
I mean,
Buss-
imagine how good that team would have been defensively, because that was about the one liability that Rip Hamilton brought to the team was his defense.
Jerry Buss pulled in a favor with the Memphis Grizzlies, the owner, the GMs and the GMs, or the owners and owners. There was a favor that they owed each other. That's how Paul Gasol, he got on the first thing smoking to LA, and it for nothing.
It's like McHale sending.
If you go back and look at what they actually had to give up to get Paul Gasol, it's like a bag of donuts.
It's like when they sent the kid to Boston.
oh, right.
Garnett. I mean,
Garnett, yeah.
who traded him to Danny Ainge? Kevin
Kevin
McHale.
McHale.
Come on.
Kevin McHale.
Come on, man. The ghosts of the Garden never die, even if that building's no longer alive.
The TD Garden. Maz, the TD Garden versus the Boston Garden. Like
Oh.
when you look at it, it's just completely not. It's just
No,
not
it's
the same.
different.
Did you get to go see a game at the Boston Garden?
Oh, God,
Oh,
yes.
my
I saw
goodness.
quite a few. Matter of fact, I went for a doubleheader one time. I went for the last game of the NBA season. It was the Celtics and Hornets. And we went to have dinner, and we came back for the Bruins, and I think the Canadians played them that night at Boston
how
Garden.
dingy and dark
It was
and
the- it was
weird
the-
and
it was the-
special was it?
It was a special.
Yeah,
It was very special.
yeah.
The best part about that is we snuck in to the second half of the Celtics-Hornets game. We didn't have tickets for that one. We had
Nice.
tickets for the nightcap.
How did you sneak in?
They had a door. It was like a jimmied open. We literally just
He's
went in.
He's a Jersey guy.
Yeah, we just went.
Just
I'm like,
act like you're supposed to be there,
what's
right?
going to happen?
He's a Jersey.
They're going to throw us out. And then we
send me
went
back to Jersey.
and we went seat to seat. We kept throwing out of seats, but it was great, man.
Didn't you pay $5 to get into a World Series? if I'm not
81 World
mistaken?
Series game number 6.
$5, correct?
$5.
See?
$5. Rolled it up like a ticket. The guy just took
Got
it.
stories for
walked in.
days.
He's a Jersey guy, man. They figure things out. Speaking of figuring things out, we will have Ari Meirov on the show today. Friend of the show. He was one of the first interviews we did and brought him on before he was a part of My 33rd Team. Now he is. And also, if you want to follow him, that's at My Sports Update on X or Twitter, whatever you're calling it. The schedule came out. Finally, the complete full Thursday night football, Sunday night football, and Monday night football schedules are out. Well, we'll have him in about 5 minutes, so let's throw that up there. Maz, take us through the schedules real quick, sir.
I will. Well, let's put up the Lions right now. Let's put up the Lions schedule because we haven't gone over it with you, Anson.
Oh, this is true.
Now, Ryan and I and Braylon picked ours. So let's go through you.
Ryan had 11
Leave it
and
up.
6.
Leave it up there, Pete. Run through it there, my friend, and give us say the team and give us win or loss.
Well, there's a big W against the Rams.
Okay.
That's happening.
Big W.
1-0. Go ahead.
We go 2-0 and then 3-0.
3-0.
And I'm sorry, I can't get over the Seahawks game. We're gonna lose some games at home.
That's a Monday night game.
So I think we start off 3-1 heading into Dallas after the bye.
Okay.
Hate the bye week in week 5.
Yeah,
I do
not
hate
many
the bye
people
week
like
in week 5. There's no way the Lions go to Dallas and lose. That's not happening.
So it's a win. 4-1.
4-1. We beat JJ McCarthy and his Vikings.
5-1.
Hold serve at home against Tennessee.
6.
And we lose our second game of the year at Lambeau.
6-2.
Texas,
Now you got Thursday night football.
Lions aren't in the business of losing back-to-back, so I'm going to say a win in Texas
7-2
against that young team. 8-2 against the Jags.
Okay.
And a team that we will struggle to defend with AR-15, Mr. Anthony Richardson returning from injury. That's our third loss.
8-3. All right.
I like us to win those next 3 games.
11-3.
Yeah. And then we
Takes you to Buffalo.
So,
Excuse
man,
me. Takes you to the Bears. At Bears.
I think that those are 2 games that we could lose right there and finishing out with another win. I saw 11 every time I've looked at this, but I just told you 12, Maz.
All right, so you're a 12-win
Still
guy.
going. You got 12-5?
Man,
I think it's more about what you think the win total will be versus what games will be won and lost.
Well, I think that they have 12 wins in them. I think they need at least 12 wins to take one of the top 2 seeds.
Yeah.
I think 13 probably.
13 will probably win you number 1 seed.
Number one in home field the whole way.
Yeah.
This is a much better division than people realize. They've got a tough schedule. I'll be happy if they go 11. If they hit 12, man, that's a blessing, and 13 would be a godsend. But I'm going to stick with 11. I'm going to stick with 11 because they still are the Lions. I think they're a much better team, but they are circled on opponents' schedules now.
Let me give you the spreads of these games because we got them already.
Yes, please.
You guys got the sheets as well. They are favored by 3 over the Rams. They're favored by 6 the next game against Tampa. They're favored by 4 on the road at Arizona. Favored by 6 Monday night against Seattle. They are getting a 0.5 point at Dallas. They're favored by 3 against Minnesota on the road.
That'll be a push.
They're favored by a
game 5.
touchdown at home against Tennessee. Green Bay is favored by 1.5 points at Lambeau. Houston, how about that? They're even underdog against Houston. They're getting 1 against Houston.
That makes sense.
They're favored against the Jacksonville Jags by 4, 2.5 over the Colts, 3.5 over the Bears on Thanksgiving, 2.5 over Green Bay the following Thursday night, or maybe that's a Monday night. And then they're home for Buffalo, favored by 2. At Chicago, favored by 2. And underdog at San Francisco by 4.5. Favored on the last game of the year by 5. So only 3 games are they underdog.
Gentlemen, I have one question
in this season.
As a Lions fan, have you ever seen us favored
Yes.
that many times.
Yep.
There's 4 games we're not favored, and 3 of them are at 1.5 points or less.
Correct.
3 of those games are pick'ems.
Lions fans, how you feeling?
Lions fans.
How you feeling right now about that?
Feeling good.
Man.
We got to ask Ari Meirov about this.
And I believe that he's on the line. So why don't we go to a quick commercial break? We'll come back with Ari Meirov. But first, let's get a message from Swiss.
Everybody, now more than ever, it's critical for you to have your insurance reviewed, and Swiss Insurance will make sure that your carrier is not slipping in extra fees. Call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or visit SwissINS.com. Back to Bray.
$10 a month is all they charge. That is Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential. I keep telling you guys, the summer is coming up. We are now on May 17th, Maz, give or take.
It's coming.
May 17th. June will be here. You want to be in shape. You want to feel good about yourself. Well, come on down to Planet Fitness Store, where they have a squeaky clean gym. So after you work out, take your time getting right, take a shower, then head on home. Also, if you want to get in shape, 30-minute total body workouts right there in the middle. So all you got to do, show up. They got the counter waiting for you, and they also have trainers there for you. It's a part of the package. Planet Fitness, your fitness is essential. Show up.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
All right, welcome back to Ermanni Edwards with Maz. Joining the show is a friend of the show. He's been here since the inception, and that is my guy, Ari Meirov. We got a lot to talk about. Ari, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, Ari.
I'm doing well. Braylon, it was good to see you at the draft.
Good to see you as well, man. It was fun. It was fun being a part of it. It's kind of like a full circle moment. 19 years ago, being on that stage at the Javits Center in New York, to being here in the city that, born, raised, and get a chance to represent the New York Jets. So a lot of butterflies I had on that stage. Much different than when I came out. It was 200,000 people when I got on that microphone. So a little nervous, but I think I pulled it off.
It was good. Malachi Corley will forever be your pick, so hopefully he turns out to be something special.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think he
better be.
You talk about those yards after catch. I think there's a little something more special in there for him. I agree with you. I like him. I think he's going to do something special for the Jets in between Mike Williams and Garrett Wilson, the Ohio State finest, if you will. Before we get into football, the schedule's released, a lot going on. Our Detroit Lions, we do add you in there because you picked the Lions a long time ago when they were just getting this thing cooking. What's going on with Scottie Scheffler, man, down in Valhalla? You got any insight for us?
I don't have much insight on it, but I wake up every morning at 6:30 and I open Twitter to see what's going on, and I see the Jeff Darlington tweet, and I thought it was like you know Twitter nowadays, like, oh, it's probably like one of those accounts that are pretending to be him. And I click on the profile, like, it's actually him. So I literally have been, like, stuck to my timeline all morning long just trying to understand what happened, what is going on, what did he do, why did it happen, was it a misunderstanding? Obviously, there's some unfortunate situations that happened before all of it, but it's one of the wildest stories I've seen in sports in a while.
Nothing like golfers in their cars, correct?
You're not kidding, man. Hey, it's new special police training to attach yourself to a golfer's
That's
car.
wild.
Well, anyway, we'll move on, Ari. We'll talk a little football with you, especially our Detroit Lions, who are they are in the national spotlight, man. They finally made it, huh? We all knew here in Detroit that Matthew Stafford was going to be the Sunday night game. We were calling it like a month ago. What'd you think of that, the way the NFL put out for the Lions this year?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is a first-place schedule for the Lions, the first time in a very, very long time for them. So it's obviously going to be challenging, but we already saw Matthew Stafford come back to Detroit in the playoffs. So the chances of the energy matching that, I mean, I will never doubt Detroit, but, I mean, I don't blame the schedule makers putting that right back there in week one. The playoff game was phenomenal down to the wire, and let's bring it back. Let's run it back. I mean, I love it. I think every fan in the NFL, regardless of who you root for, cannot wait for that game. And really the entire primetime schedule for week one is outstanding. I mean, game after game after game should be entertaining, really good teams, really good players, really good quarterbacks. I mean, I feel like the NFL nailed week one for the most part when it comes to getting football back after 200-plus days.
Hey, Ravens at Chiefs, Packers at Eagles. That's the first two games to begin with. I mean, it's fantastic. And then the Sunday late game, you got Cowboys at the Browns, at Tom Brady's. That's his first game as the number one team. You got the Raiders and Chargers, the Commanders and Bucks, and then the Sunday night, the Jets and the 49ers on Monday night. Rams and Lions, of course, Sunday night. The Jets with 7 standalone games, Ari. What happens if this blows up again? What happens, God forbid, if Aaron Rodgers goes down? The NFL is stuck with the Jets again.
Well, I don't even want to think about that possibility.
Yeah, come on, man. Jeez Louise, why you jinxing my Jets, bro?
I love him too. I'm just saying.
You don't act like it.
Hey. Braylon needs somebody good throwing the ball to Malachi. Hey,
thank you, Eric. Jeez.
But no, I was surprised. I mean, it's glaring to have 7 standalone games in the first 11 weeks of the season. It's never happened before. The Jets are going to be on our television literally all the time to start the year. And I mean, I'm from New York. Fans here could not have asked for a worse matchup to start the season with the 49ers. First of all, you're putting them back on Monday Night Football, which every Jets fan has a reminder from last year.
I was there.
And the
PTSD.
player who sacked Aaron Rodgers at that play was Leonard Floyd, and he actually plays for the 49ers now, just to make it even worse.
Oh, boy.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of memories there, but the NFL is still very high on the Jets. If anything, the roster as a whole got better from last year, so I don't blame them for trying to put them back all over the place, but the overall schedule for the Jets, if we look at like the details of it, they start off on Monday night. Week 2, they're still on the road versus Tennessee. Then week 3, it's a short week on Thursday night. Like, it's just like the details of it are just like very complex and complicated. I've spoken to a few Jets people about it. They don't like it, but that's the reality for them.
I love the Jets, but we are here in Detroit, so it is time to talk about those Detroit Lions. 6 games, like Maz said, they have on primetime, deservingly so. Every time they get on primetime, they show up and show out. All right, same question I asked Dan Miller, who's the voice of the Detroit Lions here in Detroit on the radio, does a tremendous job, Fox 2. First question I asked him, outside of the rematch with the Rams and the rematch with the 49ers, what is the game you're looking at the Lions schedule where you're like, this is going to be a really good game and a really interesting game? What is that game for you?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many because, again, this is the first place schedule, so you guys have a bunch of
Come on, Ari. Come on.
I got it. I'll give you a team. The one game that I am really looking forward to seeing is the NFC Championship rematch. It's all the way in the end against on December 30th, but we all saw what happened in that game. I mean, the Lions had it. It was theirs in the first half, and they lost it. So I wish it was earlier in the season, to be honest, but they put it all the way on the back end. But I guarantee you Dan Campbell still has that sour taste in his mouth. And whenever that time comes, hopefully Detroit is still very much in the playoff picture at the time, and so is San Francisco. Hopefully it's an amazing game because of where both teams are in the NFC standings. If that's the case, I think Detroit comes in with some significant urgency to make sure they're able to beat that team and then go into the playoffs knowing that we just beat the team that knocked us off last year, and we have that momentum going into the postseason. That's the way I look at it.
All right, quick follow-up to that question. The San Francisco 49ers, you mentioned that's the game that you're looking at. In my estimation, I don't think that they got better this offseason. I could be wrong. What say you about this San Francisco 49ers team? Because I don't think this year we can just crown them as we have in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, they've definitely had a small step back, I would say. Like, they moved on from a few players. Arik Armstead is a very good defensive lineman who they no longer have. But overall, that roster is still very good. And from their perspective, this is the final year they're going to have where they have the entire core together, because this roster is getting really, really expensive. Really, if you go back to the draft, they were open to trading either Brandon Ayuk if they got a first-round pick or Deebo Samuel if they got a second-round pick, and none of those offers came in, so they stuck with both players. They're going to try to run it back with this current roster that they have, but whatever happens after this season, they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy a very, very big contract next year, and because of that, players like George Kittle, like Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, maybe a few defensive players like Javon Hargrave, they won't be able to keep everybody. So this is really their final year where they're running it back with the core players. They're still very much one of the best NFC teams, but I believe Detroit is right up there with them. I think Green Bay, if Jordan Love keeps the way he was playing last year, is right up there with them. The Eagles, crazy end of last season for them. They added a lot of really good players. They have new coordinators. They're right up there with them. So I don't think San Francisco is the premier number one team no matter what, the way we looked at them last year.
I like that.
Ari, you've got your finger on the national pulse when it comes to the NFL. So much has changed on how the nation is starting to embrace the Detroit Lions. Can you speak on that, on just the change on our away games, but just what people in general, NFL fans, are saying about our new look Detroit Lions?
Or insiders as well.
Yeah, I've been on the show now for 3+ years. I've been saying, keep an eye on the Lions. They're coming.
Yes, you have.
They're coming. And now I think everyone realizes they're here, and they're not just here, but they're here to stay. And that's really what the general belief is when you look at the average NFL fan or the NFL fan who doesn't follow all year round, but they know the Lions, the Bills, the Chiefs, they're in that stratosphere. We look at the Lions like that now. And really going into this season for Detroit, Dan Campbell said this when the season was over, next year we're restarting, and we cannot believe just because we did this good in 2023, it's going to translate for 2024. So that's really going to be the biggest thing for them, because now every single team that faces the Lions knows that this is not the same old Lions anymore. We're going to give our best when we play them. So that's really the biggest difference for them. But from a national perspective, the media perspective, the average fan, the diehard fan, everyone knows who the Lions are now, and we want to watch them. We're curious about them. The NFL giving them as many primetime games as they did, that is the league saying, yeah, we were right last year, and we're all in on them. So everyone is pretty much all in on Detroit, and rightfully so.
Ari, how do you like what they've done in the offseason, and then with their rookie crop of people coming in? Did you like their draft?
I love their entire offseason as a whole. The draft, they obviously addressed secondary big time. Terrion Arnold was cornerback number 1 or number 2 on every single board. Getting him where they did, trading up, that was a big time move. He should be a starter for them right away, assuming all goes well in training camp. And I think Detroit is going to love that kid. His attitude, the way, everything about him, they're going to love him. But really the offseason as a whole for me, the one thing about Detroit, and I've said this on our website, I've tweeted about it as well, they took a different approach than some other teams. Because whenever you make it to the NFC Championship game and you fall just short, some teams have this reaction of, you know what, screw it, let's just go for it. You know what I mean? And they're going to try to add some big name, and that's going to get us over the hump. And a perfect example of this would be Buffalo, when, if you remember, they just missed the Super Bowl. They added Von Miller on that crazy 6-year deal, right?
140 million.
Right, a lot of money. It hasn't really worked out for them. And this offseason, we saw how Buffalo was so against the cap. They had to cut so many players. It was a mess for them, right? Detroit was like, we're not going to go all out like that. We're going to continue making smart signings, value signings, culture fits, guys who fit the roster, and like Kevin Zeitler, DJ Reader, Carlton Davis, like these guys, they didn't break the bank for those guys, but they're players who are going to help the team right away. They fit the culture. It makes sense. They're good players. And again, come next year, they're still going to have cap space. They're still going to have all their draft picks. They didn't do the all-in type of move where maybe we win the Super Bowl, but if we don't, we're screwed. Like, they're still going to have sustained success. And that part of Detroit is really what makes me like them, not just for this year, but for years to come. They're doing it the smart way, the right way, and the way it should be done.
Ari, how many wins do you have for them, and are they a number one seed? Do they need the number one seed?
I mean, the number one seed gets you a bye, so obviously it would be great to have it. Home field advantage throughout the players. It's obviously a great thing. I think they are one of the teams that should be competing for it. I think I mentioned the teams before. I would put Detroit there, San Francisco there, Philadelphia there, and I think Green Bay is a sneaky team as well. And, of course, that's in their division. So those games, both games this year will be crucial for Detroit if they really want to have a chance at it. But they're anywhere from 10 to 13 wins for me. If all goes well, no injuries. I think the mindset for this team, Dan Campbell has them all locked in. Like I said before, everyone is aware. What we did in 2023 no longer matters in 2024. He's kind of let everyone know about that already in the locker room. They know this year is a new year. Everyone is starting off 0-0, and let's try to repeat what we did last year, but get over the hump and actually make it to the Super Bowl. So I'm still all in on this team. There's no reason for me to believe they're not. I love the additions they made in the offseason. I love the draft that they had, and this is a team that I'm still very, very much high on.
Talking to NFL insider Ari Meirov, and also part of my 33rd team. I love the work you guys do, and if you don't know who that is, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Equimania St. Brown, that's where they do their podcast at. But, all right, looking at the division, you just talked about the Green Bay Packers. Everybody in here knows how serious the Packers are. We did get whooped by the Packers on Thanksgiving. No need to talk about who that team is. But the Chicago Bears, last time we talked, it was they probably are going to draft Caleb Williams. They added Keenan Allen. They added DeAndre Swift. Well, now they did draft Caleb Williams. What is your thoughts on the Chicago Bears' seriousness to challenge in this division this year with all the moves that they've added by Mike Eberflus?
Yeah, I mean, it's a team that when you're a number one overall pick, you never walk into a situation like Caleb Williams is walking into. Usually it's a rebuilding team. You don't have offensive players. Your defense stinks. Like, he doesn't like this. The offense has amazing pieces. The defense was one of the best at the end of last year. And now you just drop in the quarterback and you hope that it all pans out. This is a team that roster-wise is like ready to roll. Like, I'm not saying they're going to be like a 10-plus win team, but they aren't going to be like the regular number one overall pick teams that the next year don't play well. Remember, they got that pick because they traded for it. It wasn't because they actually weren't good last year. So I think the Bears are going to be that team that is very annoying throughout the year. They don't go away. The way the Lions were the first couple of years under Dan Campbell, where they weren't winning, but they were always in games and took it down to the fourth quarter and those type of things. I think the Bears are going to be that type of a team, and I look at them as a potential 7, 8, 9 if all goes well. Maybe they can get to 10 wins this year, but that defense is really good. If Caleb Williams is as special as everyone makes him out to be and talks about him, then I think this is a team that could reach 10, but it's going to be very hard. I look at them as a 7, 8, maybe 9 win type of a team, but the pieces that they have on that team is really, really good. And it's really important also for their head coach. You mentioned him before, Matt Eberflus. They considered firing him this offseason. So he has to have a good year for his own sake, because if he doesn't, they could very well move on from maybe the defensive line and try to pair up Caleb Williams with an offensive-minded head coach. So it's a pretty big year in Chicago from that aspect as well.
Speaking of a team with pieces, you look at the skill position for the Minnesota Vikings. You know, they had Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hockenson, who Detroit fans know very well. The running back position, I feel, got an upgrade as well. J.J. McCarthy, Sam Darnold. Do you think J.J. McCarthy has a real chance to be a starter this year and take over for Sam Darnold at some point?
Yeah, whenever you are trading up for a quarterback at number 10, top 10 pick, you expect that guy to eventually start at some point during the year. This is not what the NFL once was, where you sit the quarterback for a year or two or whatever. We saw it with Jordan Love, but he was picked 24th or whatever, and they had Aaron Rodgers there. We're talking about Sam Darnold over here. So he was signed to a 1-year, $10 million contract. I could see it being a situation where Sam starts the year week 1, week 2, week 3. So Vikings start off 1-2. You know the way that the NFL works. The fans are going to be calling to put JJ on the field simply because they have a lot of really good players. Like you mentioned, Aaron Jones, like a really good running back they brought in. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, DJ Hockenson. The offensive line is really good. They cannot start off slow with whoever the quarterback is. So I could see it being Sam Darnold to start. Just let's see what we got over here. We signed him for a reason. Maybe it works out. We can let JJ, watch a little bit to start. But I fully anticipate JJ playing at some point this year, and it would not surprise me if it's in the second quarter of the season, week 5, week 6, or something like that.
Ryan Ermanni would be happy to hear that.
Hey, Ari, I know you got to get running here, but I want to talk to you about the Monday night schedule. 5 double headers on Monday night. I'm just looking at it. I'm looking at your tweet. I've had it here for a few days. I didn't realize they're going to play 5 double headers, and I don't like the way they do the Monday night double headers. Don't they play them like almost on top of each other?
Yeah, so I spoke to the schedule makers yesterday about that, and they tried this last year 3 times, and they basically saw that what they're doing this year is, if you look at the times for those games, they're all slotted at different times. Sometimes it starts at 7 Eastern and 8:30 Eastern. One of them starts at 8 Eastern and 9 Eastern. Like, they're trying to figure out which times make the most sense for when they could actually do them side by side, because the last one that they did last year, maybe you guys remember, was Giants, Packers, Titans, Dolphins, and both games went down to the wire.
It did.
And it was side by side. And they ended up seeing that they had a lot of viewership for both those games once it got into the third and fourth quarter. And those games in particular started at 7:30 and 8:15, I believe. So they felt like if we do that, we actually had good viewership last year. So they want to run it back again this year, but they're trying different times on each one. I personally, if I'm being honest, I'm not a big fan of doubleheaders, same time, Monday night games. I want one game and leave it like that, put Sunday with all the games, and that's the way it's always been. But they're trying to find different slots, and they're trying really to control the entire NFL calendar throughout the season. I mean, they have Sunday games, Monday games, they have Wednesday games this year, they have Thursday games, they have Friday games this year, they have Saturday games this year. Like, they're all over the place.
I know.
So they're trying to control the entire calendar from September till February, and for now, the fans have shown that they are going to watch regardless of who it is. So if the numbers are there, they have no reason to stop, and I guess they're right when it comes to that.
September 30th, the Lions are part of that doubleheader. You got the Titans at the Dolphins and the Seahawks at the Lions. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to get the late game. I just know it. They're going to put us like at 9 o'clock probably.
I don't think that's the 9 o'clock game, but I believe it's probably an 8:30 start if you go out and check 8:30.
Okay.
Eastern. So there's only the 9 o'clock game is on October 21st, week 7, Chargers Cardinals. But they're testing out a bunch of different times just to figure out which one gets them the best rating and the most eyeballs on both games at the same time. They have data for days, that's true, and apparently they saw something last year that I guess I didn't, but who am I to say?
Me neither, man. I don't like it. I like one game on Monday, and that's it. And now Christmas is on a Wednesday, and they got 2 games. So the 2 teams that play on Christmas have to play on a Saturday. Am I correct?
That is what's happening. The 4 teams that are playing on Christmas, that's Steelers, Chiefs, Texans, Ravens, are playing on Saturday. Just flip the teams where they're playing against each other. And that's the way the NFL looked at it. And Braylon, as a former player, you could probably talk about this. They look at it like players play from Sunday to Thursday, so playing from Saturday to Wednesday is the same thing. I don't know how players look at it, whatever, but that's their thought process on it. And they got 30 million viewers on Christmas last year, so they want to rake in the cash.
Netflix, Merry Christmas, 300 million.
All right, we appreciate you always. We appreciate you always for coming on the show, man. You have legitimately, like you said, you've been here since the beginning. When Maz reaches out, you always answer that call. So we appreciate you, and we appreciate
Ari.
We appreciate what my 33rd team is doing as well, man. Keep doing the good work. If you want to follow him, that is at My Sports Update. Appreciate you so much, Ari.
Appreciate you guys anytime.
See you, buddy.
Have a good one.
Ari Meirov.
Just love Ari when he comes on the show, man. He's nice, cool, chill, calm, collected, and he gets the information that you need. Look, we'll take a quick commercial break, I think. Come back, and we'll talk about some of the things he said. I want to dive into the division, man. I think that's something that would be fun. He mentioned that the Chicago Bears, they really could be that sleeper if Caleb Williams. I mean,
man.
we definitely, I agreed with you.
He said 10 wins. That's crazy.
is it when you know what? Stop talking about it. Let's come back. Let's get a quick message from Birch.
That's
right. That's on me, Pete.
No, it's all good. I forgot to tell you before the last break there, Bray. But anyway, head to shop.woodwardsports.com right now and get yourself some of the latest Detroit sports merch. We got all the latest hoodies, the tees, and the hats that are guaranteed to turn heads. Also, get yourself the 775,000 NFL Detroit Draft t-shirt. You can also get the new Woodward Sports quarter golf pullover. And we're also hoping one of these days for the hashtag Boo the Kids t-shirt. But right now, head to shop.woodwardsports.com and get yourself some of the latest merch. Hey, Maz.
We got Premier Pet Supply.
Can you tell me about that one, my friend?
Of course. It's family owned and operated for over 30 years, folks. 13 Metro Detroit locations. Talking about PremierPetSupply.com. They have over 60 brands of food at the lowest prices available. Curbside delivery if you need it. Nutritionists on call if you ever have a question. Give your pet the best. Don't settle for less. Give them a try. PremierPetSupply.com.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that, hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit sports.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda. A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of. And guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out PremierPetSupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. Same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford and Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet, together. Let's drive. Welcome back. Almost time for the second hour of the show, so we'll just kick it off now. This is the second hour of the show. Always great to talk to Ari Meirov. He always has some great insight. Joining me today is my man Anson Wells. Anson, how you feeling over there?
Feeling great. Looking as good as you are right
you
now.
Look better, bro. You got
it.
the tie, you got the sleeves rolled up to the pocket, to the perfect pocket square right there. Tom Mazaway doing what he does as always, getting excited because it is the second leg of the Triple Crown tomorrow in the Preakness. Nobody loves horse racing more than that guy right there. Tom, you excited about the weekend? Excited about the Preakness?
I am. You know, not as much as the old days, you know, when you had a full field and a real good horse to root for. I don't know if Mystic Dan is Triple Crown worthy, but I'll be locked and loaded and enjoying it with the family.
Well, I know everybody in this chat, everybody that represents Woodward Sports, they are excited about the Detroit Lions season. The schedules came out yesterday, and you heard Ari Meirov talking about this division. We believe this division is maybe 2 behind the AFC North, both Norths taking over. That's what Tom Maz was saying. I tend to agree. But you hear what he said about Caleb Williams. You hear what he said about the Chicago Bears, maybe possibly 10 wins. We know the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love are going to be dangerous, not only in the division, but in the conference. What are your thoughts on what he said, Anson, about the Chicago Bears and their ability potentially to get 10 wins?
They're going to be a pain in the butt. That's what he said, is that these guys are going to be around all year. We're going to be watching them in the standings, not as close as we're going to be watching Green Bay, but they are going to be a very, very tough out. All of it hinges on how well Caleb can assimilate with his teammates. I'm not a believer. I've seen a lot of scouts that I really put a lot of weight into their words that just didn't have him on their board at all, especially after he didn't work out. For me, I am not a believer, but I do think that this team is stacked. Now, it all came together at this, in this offseason, similar to what he spoke about with the Bills, where they felt that they were at that point. They put in a lot of big contracts, made a lot of big moves. Yeah. You're talking about bringing in a lot of different personalities. You've got a guy in DJ Moore who is the offense, but now you're bringing in an all-pro like Keenan Allen, and you're bringing in a young, amazing wide receiver in Rome Odunze. Who's going to get the ball? Are they going to coexist well? And now you've got a quarterback that, to me, I don't think he's going to facilitate all three of those being happy. Those guys, somebody's going to be left out. Yeah. I think the Bears are a year away, and I hope that Caleb absolutely fails, but this is going to be a team that we might lose a game to, probably will lose a game to, and they're just going to be scary all season. If they get that 7 seed, that means that they're gelling right at the right time, Braylon, and that's a team I would not want to face in the playoffs.
Yeah, one thing about looking at that roster, when you look at the guys that have come over to that squad, DeAndre Swift hasn't had success in the playoffs. Last year, finally made it to the playoffs. They lose in the first round. You look at Keenan Allen with the Chargers, no success in the playoffs. They were in control 2 years ago. Trevor Lawrence came back and shut the door on those guys. And then you look at DJ Moore. He came from Carolina, enough said. Tom Maswell, I do think where Chicago Bears face the Lions is an interesting point that you bring up. They face them on Thanksgiving. The Lions haven't won one in seven tries. And then also 4 weeks later in December, that's their only cold game. Is Chicago really, really going to be a nuisance potentially to these Lions, man?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out early, too, I believe. And I don't even know who their backup quarterback is, and I should, but I don't.
Bagent.
Huh?
Tyson Bagent.
Is it? Still? They're keeping
Nobody.
him? I know he had a couple of good games last year. They got to have another veteran on that team just in case. But, man, you're gonna find out early. But the Bears don't play a divisional game for the first over a month of the season. It takes 5 weeks before they play a divisional game. So they escape that way. I think that's good for them, bad for us, because I like to have seen them play us early, maybe Green Bay early, maybe even Minnesota early. Give them a couple of bruises before they get into their easy part of their schedule.
Yeah, 100%. We're talking about the NFL, so we might as well stick with the NFL, Maz. We got some stories, we got some things, some sounds, some bites to talk to in the NFL. You want to do us a favor and I'll take us around that same NFL.
Oh, sure. Here we go. Let's going to do it right here. Netflix, by the way, they got Christmas Day games. Now they've acquired the rights, and they will play this. It's a 10-part docuseries on none other than Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has a 10-part docuseries about his life, how he's taken over the Cowboys, blah, blah, blah. Netflix is the place for it.
Doesn't that seem like 8 episodes too many?
I think it does.
Yeah.
I think it does. I think you're absolutely right on that.
Unless you're just, I understand that he's definitely a polarizing figure. He's definitely what he's done with the league, what he's done with the Cowboys, but I think a strong 3.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about somebody as storied as like a Jerry Jones, I feel like a strong 3. I think I watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger special on Netflix. It was 4. I loved it, but I love Arnold. I think I watched the Sylvester Stallone one. It was 3 to 4. I love it, but it's Sylvester. 3, 4 seems like the window. 10?
I feel like that was part of his negotiation. I need as many as Mike got, or I'm not doing it.
But the other thing, too, imagine I bring it to you, this actually could be interesting, though, because it's not just going to be about Jerry. It'll be about the Cowboys. And we know the Cowboys were something to talk about in the 90s with that team that won 3 Super Bowls.
And him against Jimmy Johnson, they were best friends. He hired Jimmy Johnson, brought him back to the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? But he busted his chops big time. And
Jimmy
there was a falling
finally got
out.
in the ring
There was a
last
falling
year.
out, man.
Yeah.
It took a long time to get Jimmy up on that ring, huh?
Their falling out was very similar to that of George Steinbrenner and Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
Is that a good
point?
That
That's a good
comparison?
point. Billy Martin.
Look at that.
Billy Martin.
Billy Martin.
So excited with that one, Brad.
Yeah. That's why I try to bring Maz into the floor. I see Pete. Pete's even over here smiling about that.
Anything about
I love Billy Martin. He was the man.
He was a great coach, great player, but he had one thing. He was an alcoholic in the sense of the word.
And he would punch you. He'd punch your lights out as soon as talking to you. So those were great days back then. So I'm sure Netflix will get the rights to that one as well. Hey, we got some more news coming up. We have Greg Olsen, the guy that I always liked. He was on the #1 team with Kevin Burkhardt on Fox. You know the scoop. They signed Tom Brady. Basically, they made Greg Olsen a placeholder. What they didn't realize is he'd become very good at his job. And what he did is he's back to the B team. He'll be with Dodgers play-by-play announcer Joe Davis, who is the #2 team on Fox. So it's going to be Joe Davis with Greg Olsen. Last year, Joe Davis was with Daryl Moose Johnson. So Moose moves down to the 3-hole now. But he lost $7 million in salary by getting knocked down.
Let me ask you this before I actually come to the salary that was lost. I think he was making $20 million. It goes down to $13 million or so, whatever. But are you a big fan of broadcasters? Do broadcasters actually make the game for you better? Because I didn't believe that outside of Madden until I met Tom Mazaway. And now I'm looking at Kevin Burkhardt. I'm looking at Gus Johnson. I'm finding the guys that make the games what the game should be.
Well, I'm a huge fan of all the broadcasters here at Woodward Sports, including the two of you guys.
There you go.
Thanks, Anson.
We're analysts, though. They're broadcasters.
On Tuesday, we talked to Rod Allen. I'm a huge fan of him. These guys can make or break a game. You know, I mean, if it's your team, you're going to watch, even if you're putting up with a terrible voice. But if you're watching a game that you don't really care about, but the guy's engaging, I'm not turning it off. So I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah, I actually like Greg Olsen. I bring that point up because Maz, like I said, he's been getting me into understanding what the broadcasters do. And I didn't like Greg Olsen at all at first. I liked him as a player, not as an analyst. I don't see this tall, stiff guy. Paul, as you watch him on his show, though, man, like he has gotten better and better. He brings you in. I also like the work that he does behind the scenes.
Yeah.
He knows the game of football. He knows this particular game of football. He does an outstanding job with Fox and when he comes on the Colin Cowherd show. So
no doubt.
You feel bad for him, you know what I'm saying? But I think in this day and age, with all this streaming, with all these sites, he will find another situation that will be able to pay him what he deserves, man.
Well, he's going to be fine with Joe Davis. Joe Davis is very good. But they could be a #1 team on any other network. And I love Joe and Troy. They're my guys. But Jim Nantz and Tony Romo, I like them as well. But I'll tell you what, Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit, forget them. Forget them. And I don't know who Netflix is going to have on their and the NFL Network. They got Rich Eisen. Come on, man. These guys, they should be a #1 team.
Doesn't Rich Eisen sometimes do those the NFL Netflix, the NFL Network games when they're overseas?
Yeah, he does them all, and he doesn't do a bad job. But he's not a play-by-play guy. No. He's a talk show host and a Sports Center guy, to me. So
he's also a University of Michigan guy.
I believe that these guys should be a #1 somewhere else.
I'm not crying for him. Greg Olsen makes more per game than our entire tight end room.
Yeah. I'm not crying for him that way. I'm crying because I liked it. I enjoyed what he did. Hey, that's all I'm saying.
Two things can be true. Michael Jordan was making $7 million going into his last 2 seasons. He made 30 and 30. I wasn't crying for Michael Jordan, but he deserved the 30 and the 33.
Sure.
Yeah, two things can be true. Shout out to Neil Rule.
Hey, we were talking about the schedule makers on the NFL, and they did the Kansas City Chiefs. They did him a favor. You know what? Taylor Swift is out there with her Eras Tour. Guess what? She can make 14 Kansas City Chiefs games, and they admitted they worked around her tour dates for the Kansas City Chiefs games.
Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, you can be as mad about this as you want to. You can be annoyed. Everybody's annoyed. Hey, I'm annoyed with Taylor Swift, but if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, they did it the right way. Look, Kansas City Chiefs, you see what she did for the league last year. You see what she did for Kansas City jersey sales, Kansas City merchandise sales. So she is the Kansas City Chiefs, and she's a good luck charm. She dates Travis, they won another one.
And it wasn't just the Chiefs that assisted in
the NFL
absolutely.
won because of Taylor
100%.
Swift, and that's why we know the deal was in place. I told Maz it was fake love, but I think Travis Kelce along the way fell in love for real.
I'm surprised they don't make her a broadcaster on top of all of this.
That's what the NFL tried to do with Reggie Bush and Kim Kardashian.
Ain't that something?
I still can't believe. Like, I watched that Super Bowl. The Saints win. They beat Peyton Manning. They get the onside kick at the start of the second half, blah, blah, blah. When they went to interview Reggie Bush right after the game, do you know the first question they asked was not directed towards Reggie? They directed it towards Kim K. I knew what sports and entertainment was at that very moment, man. I said,
amen.
Wait, she didn't play one down.
Was she at his side then?
She was. She was dating him still. That
I know she was dating him, but was she right there?
She was on the field. I promise you.
I'll be damned.
I'll pull it up next time.
No, I believe you. I believe you. Hey, I dig her.
I get it.
Her waist is too small for
what
Maz,
waist?
though.
Yeah,
it's a lamp. That's a lampshade.
Yeah, it is
on top of a lamp pole.
What comes with the schedule is traveling. Let's put up the travel schedule for each team. Look, you can see who had the most and who had the least. And I know this is pretty darn small, and I probably should have printed it out for you. Braylon, you got those eyes.
I think I know who has the most before I even look. It's Jacksonville.
Chargers.
Oh, no, Chargers. The Chargers. Yeah, I got it. Chargers, and then the least. Chargers have 26,803 miles of total travel this year. And for those of you out there like, this doesn't matter. Who cares about this stat? This is time players have to spend on airplanes, traveling, checking into new hotels, different time zones. Oh, and also, Maz, you have the time zones as well. They're going through 36 time zones. The next closest team will be the Miami Dolphins, and they're going to 16 and 20.
So Jacksonville's not up there?
Jacksonville they stay, so maybe that kind of plays into
the bottom.
Yeah, they're right.
But three of those
the top 10.
Right in the middle, yeah.
3 of those top 10 are 3 teams that we're really talking about, worrying about here. In the 49ers, in the Packers, and I missed this. It's running down there, but 3 of the teams that we are worried about are in that top 10 of traveling, and then the Eagles being that third one. And then the Lions, what are they, 5th lowest? That's fantastic.
Lions are 5th lowest.
That's good.
8th lowest, 7th lowest?
Wow. 100%. The Lions
that means something.
It does.
Does that mean something?
It does.
It definitely, when you look at the time that they don't have to travel, the time they're not spending on the road, they're not spending in the air, they're not spending in multiple hotels, and also you look at how close proximity. Look, they play Chicago, which is down the street, Green Bay, which is up the road in terms of flight-wise, so it helps you. And they only play one cold weather game, so this can help. When you're coming from San Francisco, because I played there, everywhere you play is going to be far. I played for the Seattle Seahawks. Everywhere you play is going to be far, so I wouldn't put too much stock in that for the 49ers because the 49ers are technically, they're used to it.
You were a 49er?
I was for a year, 2011.
Jim Harbaugh was his coach.
Jim Harbaugh's first year.
That wasn't bad for you, huh?
It was interesting.
I bet.
It was interesting.
We'll leave it at that. It was interesting.
There's a lot of questions I got, though.
We came this close, though, to getting to the Super Bowl. This close. Punt return that was muffed, but hey, things happen.
Was that against the New York Football Giants?
And it was.
I remember that game.
It actually was.
Speaking of New York Football Giants,
there you go.
Do you dig their 1925 uniforms?
Absolutely not. I was sent this DM by my girl Britt. Shout out Britt. She sent this to me. I don't like it. I mean, obviously we know where the helmet came from, 1938. We know who they jocked that winged helmet from, and it wasn't Delaware. But outside of the helmet, you know what it looks like? It looks like the Bullets old jersey. Remember the Bullets?
Of course, I love the Bullets.
Am I correct with that?
Yeah,
one?
that's very good. But no, it looks like the Montreal Canadiens.
It looks horrible.
I don't think it looks bad.
They're pretty bad, and then you add that helmet in, and it's just pretty much hot garbage.
Pete, let me ask you this, man.
This is what they sent their season ticket holders, by the way.
I'm glad
they sent it.
You see, they didn't send the jersey.
No, but
nobody wanted.
Look, they sent them 4 Super Bowl rings. They gave them a commemorative ticket from the 1925 game against the Yellow Jackets. I thought that's pretty nice, considering they're charging them like $18,000 for tickets.
That package right there cost $34,000.
You're not kidding, because they got PSLs. They got the seat license.
You explained that to me and Ryan one day. I said,
that's
wow,
horrible.
So you mean to tell me I got to pay to hold the seat on top of actually paying for the seat?
Yeah. I got to buy my seats, then I got to pay for the tickets.
All right. The NFL, man, but this is how they get you, because guess what? A lot of people still bought those tickets and their percentage.
Guess what? There's 20,000 people in line waiting for the Lions tickets now. They're becoming they're becoming something big. And who knows if that happens to us down the line. Hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah, hopefully we don't see what happened to the Palace in its last years, bunker suites and raised prices and stuff like that. I mean, as long as the product continues to be what it is, Detroiters are going to pay to go see it.
They are.
Absolutely true. I mean, it's a really good product, and it was built the ground up. I think that's what people are seeing when they're buying Detroit Lions tickets, when they're buying season tickets. They're like, okay, I can put my hard-earned money into this, or if it wasn't hard-earned, I can put my money into this because I see the process. I see Brad Holmes, I see Dan Campbell, I see all of the three, Sheila Hemp included, on board doing the same thing. So you know what? Why not give you $15,000?
Hey, here's one for you guys. This will be the end of my little NFL segment. Drake May, drafted number 1 by the New England Patriots, 3rd overall pick. Bunch of teams tried to get up to number 3. They held steadfast. Braylon has been saying it from day one.
Yep.
I've been right on his tail saying it the same way. They should have traded that pick and gotten more picks, done it the Lions way. They didn't. They took Drake May. They saw him in rookie camp. They saw him after that. They go on a podcast with our man Plexico Burress. This is what Plexico Burress had to say about the New England Patriots and what a coach or two might have leaked.
That doesn't sound good to me if I'm Gerard Mayo and the fans for the New England Patriots, because basically what you're saying is that we might have drafted the wrong guy. I'm just going to paint this picture right now. He may not be as good as we thought he was.
He's setting you up.
But I'm looking at it. Listen, this guy only played 26 games in college. In the ACC, he threw for 3,600 yards. Listen, the ACC is not exactly the SEC or the Big Ten. So you're talking about 3,600 yards and 26 starts in college, and you draft him with the 3rd pick, and you ask him to be the savior of this team. Good luck.
Yeah, look, and I'm telling you, what you said is dead on right. If I'm a Patriot fan, I am very concerned right now. And then, of course, there's videos out there of him throwing the football. And you want to talk about a slow release in getting the ball out of your hand. Maybe that works in the ACC. That don't work in the NFL.
I thought it was in slow motion, to be honest with you.
Right?
How bad can one practice be to have your head coach say he's got a lot to work on?
I've never heard a head coach come out and say about any draft pick to get up on that podium after the first or second day of practice and say he has a lot to work on.
Yeah.
So that tells me that he has a whole lot to work on, and the
going to be a long year for the Patriots. So let me just say this, as a long-suffering Jet fan, and I speak for Bills fans and Dolphins fans as well. Woo! Couldn't happen to a better franchise. Your franchise is dead.
I agree with you on that.
Thank you very much. And Plax and I never agree.
Plaxico Burress is one of my good Michigan State friends, so love him dearly. At the end of the day, I don't really care much about the 26 starts in the ACC and the 3,600 yards. We've seen quarterbacks get drafted first overall, second, third, that have had less than that. But I agree with him on that release. If you watch that release, they showed a side-by-side of Jaden Daniels and then Drake May kind of doing the same drill, their release. Jaden Daniels' ball was already about to be caught, while Drake May's was just about to be released balls. Like, it's one of those things where you're reaching. Like, you don't have a franchise in place. You don't have a skill position set in place for a rookie quarterback. They're going to ruin this guy, and it's going to be Mac Jones part 2.
Beyond his physical abilities, imagine being the first round quarterback selected in New England after Tom Brady's gone.
Well, Mac Jones was first.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Sorry. So that didn't work out well for him.
It didn't work.
It's kind of like the situation that the Lions have had for so many decades of just no good quarterback play. And your audience, your fan base is just, they're foaming at the mouth for a proper quarterback. I don't think this was the right pick for them. I think that he's not physically on the level to be able to be a top 15 or even a top 20 quarterback there. He's going to be in a lot of trouble, and I think that it's really going to blow up in their face. I'm worried about this kid. I'm not worried about New England, but I think it was just a bad move all around.
Speaking of a lot of trouble, Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion with the Kansas City Chiefs, their kicker, he may be in trouble or he may face some backlash. In fact, he has faced a little bit of backlash on his views during his speech at a Catholic school, which is Benedictine College. He made some comments. His views are not those of the NFL as an organization. The NFL is steadfast in our commitment to inclusion, which only makes our league stronger. These are words from the NFL. They separate themselves for those comments. Maz, do we have, you want to play the comments first?
No, we'll come back and play.
How about we take a quick break? Yeah. We'll get a message in here from Premier Pet by You, and when we come back, we'll show you what he said. I don't know if you're going to like it.
Yeah, you never know. Huh?
I said Premier Pet. Man.
Oh, yeah. It's cool, man. Premier Pet Supply, family-owned and operated for over 30 years. 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food at the lowest prices available. Give them a try today. PremierPetSupply.com.
And what happened? See that black and yellow sign out in front of your house? It tells the bad guys one thing.
Stay out.
That's right. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. 24/7 professional monitoring and technology backed by people. And that technology has been proven to work, and those people have been proven to care. So call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. We'll be right back.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
To any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda. A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out PremierPetSupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
Awesome is when a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut. That's what Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men allows you to be and do. And let one of the stylists here get you together. Look, yesterday I got my hair braided. You see what it looks like. They also do braiding as well. They make you look good, they make you feel good. Like Deion say, when you look good, feel good, you play good. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week, and it is wicked awesome. Whoever asked in the chat, did I used to play for the 7 Mile Rams? This is true. Rex Nelson was my coach, and his son Kevin Nelson used to be one of my really, really, really good friends. So shout out to whoever asked that comment. It took me back with that one right there.
Is that
man.
baseball or football?
It's baseball. I told you baseball was my first love.
The Rams?
We had the blue jerseys, played at, no creation. I mean, no creativity back then or imagination, but we were cold. We were the second best team in the league.
I bet.
The red team was the best.
7 Mile and what?
We played at Henry, like right around the corner from Henry Ford.
Okay.
So we actually played at the park that's over by Henry Ford. It's where Henry Ford is, 100%. So, man, I actually broke my ankle playing, and this is why I don't play on crutches. You know how they tell you don't play on crutches or don't play on walkers or things of that nature is bad luck. When my dad had some crutches, I was playing on them. 4 days later, I broke my ankle. First time I ever broke a bone. So stay away from crutches and things.
Crutches
like
are
that.
fun unless you need them.
Crutches are never fun. I learned that in my lifetime.
My girls still hop on them when they see him in the garage
I
or
loved
whatever.
them as a kid.
They still
They're
hop
fun.
on them.
Yeah,
Unless you need
100%. You know what isn't fun is the comments that Harrison Butker made. We talked about that before we went to break. I think my man P. Spivak has those.
Well, we'll set it up for you because he's a
But
Catholic.
you set it up then.
He's a Catholic man. All right. This is a Catholic university, Benedictine college. So they have him in there to talk to the graduates. So they know what kind of guy he is when he's coming in. He's just a straight down the middle Catholic, 100%. Take it from here, Pete.
I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you. How many of you are sitting here now, about to cross this stage, and are thinking about all the promotions and titles you are going to get in your career? Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife and as a mother. By making it to this moment through all the adversity thrown your way from COVID, I hope you learned the important lessons that suffering in this life is only temporary. As a group, you witnessed firsthand how bad leaders who don't stay in their lane can have a negative impact on society. While COVID might have played a large role throughout your formative years, it is not unique. Bad policies and poor leadership have negatively impacted major life issues. Things like abortion, IVF, surrogacy, euthanasia, as well as a growing support for degenerate cultural values in media, all stem from the pervasiveness of disorder. Our own nation is led by a man who publicly and proudly proclaims his Catholic faith, but at the same time is delusional enough to make the sign of the cross during a pro-abortion rally. He has been so vocal in his support for the murder of innocent babies that I'm sure to many people, it appears that you can be both Catholic and pro-choice. The world around us says that we should keep our beliefs to ourselves whenever they go against the tyranny of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We fear speaking truth because now, unfortunately, truth is in the minority. Congress just passed a bill where stating something as basic as the biblical teaching of who killed Jesus could land you in jail. I am certain the reporters at the AP could not have imagined that their attempt to rebuke and embarrass places and people like those here at Benedictine wouldn't be met with anger, but instead met with excitement and pride. Not the deadly sin sort of pride that has an entire month dedicated to it, but the true God-centered pride that is cooperating with the Holy Ghost to glorify Him.
Hey, Maz, imagine being a 22-year-old girl and coming to hear a commencement speech given by somebody that plays ball or whatever, and they're going to give you some words of wisdom on how this next step should go or what you can do in the world or what it takes to achieve the success that he's achieved. He's achieved a lot of success here in the NFL, and then hearing that message.
I don't think he spoke against women to go work. He's just speaking the best thing they probably would do in their life would be to be a mom. So if you asked most women, and I say most women, married women that want to have kids, what is better? Having a kid, was that more important to you, or getting that raise at work? That's what he's basically saying.
Yeah, but
he's not really saying anything against women. I think he's just speaking.
This isn't the place for it. Like a college.
But they knew what they were going to get, Bray. Yeah. It's a Catholic university.
Why isn't it the place for it? When is the place nowadays? Because
first of all,
he said basically we should keep our voices to ourselves, which is the mandate in the world right now.
I understand that, but this place in the Catholic setting, in a school setting where you're speaking to kids about the future and what they can do, you're not just speaking to women. You're speaking to men, you're speaking to women, you're speaking about what they could potentially achieve with their dreams. I've been to 4 or 5 different commencement speeches. I'm not telling him to be quiet. There's a time and there's a place, and it's not at a commencement speech. What he said in that moment is, I can tell you for my wife, her life truly started when she became a mother and a wife. What do you mean my life truly started? There are women out there that are CEOs, executives, before they have kids, before they get married. Their life didn't start when they had children or when they got married. Their life started way before that. Now, if you want to say, I believe this is what my wife's crowning achievement is, then by all means, cool, speak for her, because she clearly can't speak for herself. But don't say that a woman's life truly starts when she has a child or when she gets married. That's the only thing I would say, and that's what I took. My girl didn't like it. I didn't like that part. If you want to speak your mind, and that's fine, but don't say, I think my wife, because if I was married to him, I was like, what do you mean my life started when I got married to you and had kids? I don't think that part was fair.
Maybe he should have added in that he felt his life started when he had children, but
yeah,
I'm going to be real honest right now. Roman Catholics have been put on the domestic terrorist list here in the United States. That's real.
Very well done.
That is
Very well
absolutely
said.
real. They're considered extremists now. There is an attack on Christianity in this country. That is a fact right now. We are not allowed to criticize our leaders. Well, half of the country's leaders that they support, while it is in vogue to criticize the other half of this country's leaders. Yeah. All right? Now, I understand inclusion and diversity, equity, all of that. But I disagree. I think that there couldn't have been a better time and place because this is in a setting that is under attack.
Right.
This is a Christian school. And this is a time where you can't speak. So this man took his platform in a place where it was embraced.
And safe.
He said it to the world, and now guess who's leading the NFL in jersey sales? So he spoke to some people that wanted to hear that. The fact that you can be invited somewhere to speak your mind and punished by somebody else absolutely screams to where we are as an American society and the freedom of speech, and it's downright frightening.
I don't think he's being punished. I just simply think it wasn't a good look in 2024 to go up here and say a woman's life starts when she becomes a house mom, when she becomes a housewife. That's taking it back to the 1960s, the 1950s, the 1940s.
Well, what did we say about Tom Brady? What did we say about Tom Brady?
In terms of what?
When he had that roast, there were people that came out, David Bakhtiari, and we laughed about it.
Yeah.
David Bakhtiari said, Tom Brady took the hit for all of us, and let's put him on a pedestal because he let everything come out. He didn't care what the hell. He was not politically correct. And let's face it, where we are in this day and age, you can't say a damn thing. We can't. We always have to watch exactly what we say, especially us if we're on the air. There's going to be people out there that are going to say, oh, this guy said this guy said this guy should be canceled, this guy should be canceled. He's in a safe area.
Yeah.
They told him, we want you here to do this commencement speech. Say your heart. Say what your words are. And he didn't speak against women. I stand on that.
He didn't speak against women, but Tom, he's not a woman. Like, let a woman go up there and give that commencement speech.
Well, maybe the next woman can.
Is he experiencing what women experience? Does he have to worry about having a kid? Does he have to worry about being a wife? Does he have to worry about what the unfair justices are as it relates to women's rights?
Is he entitled to an opinion, though?
He is entitled to an opinion, but it's for a different day. It's for a different setting. Let a woman come out and say that. Now, you come out there and you speak to the women. That's your message. This is what it is.
Well,
you're not a woman.
But he. Listen.
Hear me out. That's just like a white guy going up there and then talk about the plight of what black men individuals are struggling. You're not black. This ain't the place and time for that. You can lobby on behalf of that, but this is the place and time for that. This is a place and time for a commencement speech. You to give a message about the future, about what you can achieve, about your goals, your dreams, and how you can necessarily get there. Not talk about what women are going through when you're not a woman.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest with you. Watching that entire thing, I was cheering for him for about 90% of it. When he started off like that, I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to go well. In that type of a situation, though, I think that it is important at this point right now for somebody to step up and speak out. It definitely minimalized women to start in that one. And that is where I had an issue with it. But the fact that people can't talk about these things right now and the fact that this is being blown up to the point that it is right now, I think that everyone was expecting all this backlash. And a large portion of the country is speaking to the fact that they are happy to hear some of this stuff. So there's a fine line that he walked there. I would have chosen some different words. I don't think any man or woman's life starts at childbirth. I think that next step starts. But when you look at the breakdown of the American family, listen, we got more people divorced than we have together.
Yeah,
we have more kids growing up without their parents than we do together. And you can get into the genders, and I understand that we all have our own idea of what our gender is, but at the end of the day, the family unit is run a certain way, and it has been for the entirety of mankind. And we're watching that break down right now. So I think it's an important thing to be said. The fact that the NFL came out and basically said that it was wrong.
Of course they're going to say that. They need their money. They don't want anyone to be excluded. Nobody.
They're making their money off of those jersey sales, aren't they?
They certainly are.
At the end of the day, we said our piece. I just think it's not for him as a man to get up there and talk that stuff. You're not married, so I'm not listening to you either. I'm not listening to you as well. You said your piece. This is a sports show. Let's get back to talking sports time as well.
You got it, man.
100%. Where would you like to go from here?
I don't know.
You know, I think one of the things that he did mention in there that is glanced over it, and I know this from some friends of mine that we're either graduating high school or we're in college. My sister just graduated yesterday from NYU.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you.
100%.
That's where I met my wife.
Yeah, awesome.
NYU.
So those kids, they had that lost year, and it really impacted them. And so I think there's a lot of men as well as female, and I think that he was trying to, in not the most eloquent way, but he was trying to reach to them because a lot of these kids that are in that age group, those formative years, they were lost not going to school, not being around their friends. And so a lot of them are graduating school, my sister included, very anxious about what's next, more so than the people that I graduated with in my time.
Yeah.
And so I think that he was attempting to speak to that and to let them know that there's a rebirth still available to you. He did not choose the best way to start that thing off.
Patrick Mahomes says, look, I sit next to the guy, but we don't talk. You know, and you saw last year.
At the end of the day, we live in 2024.
No
in
doubt.
2024, you have a platform, and it's called X. It's called Twitter. It's called social media. If this is how he felt, he's a big enough name, and he plays for a big enough team at a big enough time to where that message, if he would have posted it on Twitter, if he would have posted it on X, it would have still hit just like this message did. I just say that the place in which he did it wasn't the best place, and I stick by that. Let's get back on track because, once again, this is a sports show. We'll get a quick commercial break from Wake Up Woodward is what we want to hear from, and then we'll get back to some sports, some Detroit.
That's right, everybody. Wake Up Woodward is Monday through Friday mornings, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Woodward Sports Network. You can join Sam Flannel, Matt Broder, Kool-Aid, Kenny G, and, of course, JB Smoove every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. mornings right here on Detroit's #1 sports network. And that would be Woodward Sports. We'll be right back.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
What's up, everybody? Neil Rule, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, home of the Planet Fitness Studios. Let me tell you a little personal story about myself with Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness helped me change my life, and it can do the same for you. The best gym in the gym game. The clean facilities, tons of cardio equipment, tons of weights as well. And look, through all the price increases, inflation, all that hasn't happened at Planet Fitness. Still $1 down, $10 per month, $24.99 a month for the Black Card as well. It's Planet Fitness, everybody, where your fitness is essential.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Any Lady Jane's haircuts for men, and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's haircuts for men, it's wicked awesome.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking. And the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Nashville Hot is back, but only for a limited time at Soroki's. The pizza is fire. That's what they're known for. But when Nashville comes in town, it is the truth. The chicken tenders, the fries, and the sandwich, but only for a limited time. That's what we keep telling you. If it's too hot for you, you go ahead and get that crispy chicken, because that's the bread and butter at Soroki's. And the sides, they're fresh. They are ready to be consumed. So go ahead and go to Nashville Hot back Soroki's. SAROKIS.com is where you find the menu. Welcome back. Got a little spicy around here talking about the Nashville Hot sandwich.
The chat's a little spicy right now, too.
How many married men are in the chat? How many married men are speaking?
I got a question. Yeah.
How many married men are actually talking in the chat? How many single guys are giving you comments?
How many of the men in this chat actually heard the rest of that speech?
But it doesn't matter. About us. I stand by what I said. It wasn't the right place. It wasn't the right time. You cannot say a woman's life started at marriage, starts at birth. You can't say that. This is a commencement speech. He
spoke as a priest.
You said what?
He spoke like a priest would speak.
Okay, it's a commencement speech.
I'm just saying, it's a Catholic university. Right. I'm sure the dean said, have at it, my friend.
I don't care what the dean said. I'm just telling you my opinion. It wasn't the right place, the right time.
And you are allowed to have that.
Right. How many commencement speeches have you seen, Maz?
Not many.
Exactly.
I got a question for you that's coming from James in the chat. And this is a hot button question, Braylon.
What is it? Is it about the Detroit Lions whose schedule came out yesterday?
It's about football.
Okay.
What were your feelings during the Colin Kaepernick kneeling situation?
Why are we going back to Colin Kaepernick?
I don't know. They brought it up in here. This is talking about a time and place. Right. Because to me, I thought both of them were the right time and place. Right. You have a platform, and you are getting the word out. I got no issue with Colin Kaepernick doing what he did. I have no issue with Harrison Butker doing what he did. Many people would say that neither of those were the time and place.
Right. At the end of the day, I'm not talking about Colin Kaepernick. We talk about that till we were blue in the face. That happened, 2017? Mm-hmm. If you want to revisit that, who was the individual that helped Colin Kaepernick get to the point where he was kneeling instead of sitting on the bench? Oh, it was a vet. It was a former vet who you don't remember the story? Because remember when he first started, he was sitting on the bench during the national anthem.
Yeah.
And then they brought a vet in that helped him come up with a plan. He said, what if you took a knee right next to your fellow brothers as opposed to sitting on the bench and kind of being off in distance? So that advice was given to him by a vet.
Yeah, and as an American, he has the right to kneel. And it really brought that situation to the forefront. And we had to talk about the situation with our police in this country. So this thing right here, the fact that we're talking about topics that people are afraid to talk about right now is why he stood up there and said those things. Some people are going to be offended. I don't love his choice of words when it came to women. He should have said a man and a woman's life takes on a new purpose after you have children. But what he said after that shouldn't be lost because of that beginning.
Well said.
Understood. 100%. I can agree with that. You know, we don't always have to agree, but in that, the wording definitely is, I think, the one. The people that side with Harrison Butker went too far, it's the wording, it's the verbiage, it's the words that he
frequency,
used.
And he 100%. Lost some people with that.
I'll give you that.
He lost you. Man, he lost you.
He damn sure did. He lost my girl, so that's why I said what I said, or I go home, but the door be locked.
Yeah, and frequency is important, man. You can reach a lot if you have the right one, but you can reach very few if you don't. And he certainly lost some people with the way he started that segment.
Are you okay with beer sales at the big house? Because that's what they're doing next year.
As long as they're not
alcohol and beer.
Wild.
As long as they're not selling them to the coaching staff.
It's available. Last year, I went to Spartan Stadium. It was the first year they had it.
I love you for going there. I absolutely love you.
I just went over my head. Now I just caught up with that. That was good, Bray. Denard Robinson, we're sorry. Matt Weiss or whoever the hell that was, we're sorry about that too.
Yeah, look, man, I've said it before already. I definitely have gotten a DUI in life, so I don't judge. I just think we're in a situation where you're in Ann Arbor, all eyes are on you. All eyes have been on the University of Michigan Wolverines for the last 3 years, whether it was Harbaugh's fault, whether it was illegal stuff, whatever it was. This is a hot place. This is a hot time. Just wasn't a smart move. But Denard's a great guy. He's a smart guy. He will bounce back.
I'm sad that they let him go. One bad thing, and they let the guy go after all the good things that he's done.
Maz?
To me, that bothers the living daylights.
It sucks, Maz, but you know what? It's an institution of higher learning. And so when you break it all down, it comes back to that.
But don't you think they'd give a kid another chance?
Yeah, but he's not a kid. He's a grown man that's legitimately mentoring 18-year-olds,
Yeah.
19-year-olds, 20-years.
I get it.
Look, Maz, it sucks. I wish he didn't lose his job. Hell, anything I can do, I will do. You just understand it. It's one of the things you just understand. It sucks, but you understand.
You get one shot, that's it.
Do you think
in this type of setting, if it's the NFL, it's different. I mean, it's grown men. How many DUIs have we seen from coaches and owners?
That's well said.
We've seen them here. We've seen Ursay. We've seen players.
Yeah.
But when you're in charge of young minds that are becoming young men, that are becoming men, I just think it hits a little different.
Do you think if the other coach hadn't had happened to him earlier in this offseason,
That's
they
a
had
good-
to
that's a
fire?
good question.
If that doesn't
Great
happen, do you think
question.
that, that Shoelace is still around?
Yes, if Jim Harbaugh is still the head coach.
Yep.
Fair.
You're right. Jerome
Moore
Moore started with
No.
2 strikes already.
Yeah, if you're coming in as a new regime, you've got to
You
come
got
in
2
with
brothers
a tight
that
ship.
got DUIs on your staff.
2 strikes, man. That wasn't good.
One was a hire, one was a carryover. So he can kind of toss the Denard Robinson. The first one was his hire though.
They did Sharon dirty. There's no
But
question about that.
It's official. They now sell drinks at the big house. I don't know.
I went to last year's game.
Matter, really.
It was the first game of the year that they sold alcohol at Michigan at Spartan Stadium. It was against Washington.
They need alcohol.
I went in there and they did not know.
They need alcohol.
It's a
They
true
did not
story. I
know.
hate to admit it, but it is a true story.
They didn't know how to control the crowd. So I'm in there, and I literally almost had a panic attack because I couldn't move because the lines for the beer were bleeding into the lines for the people just trying to walk through. I was literally walking an inch at a time. Finally, I saw a tunnel, even though it wasn't my seat. My wife was up in front. I lost her. She was with my brother-in-law and my sister. I just said, I'm out. They didn't even hear me. I went right to the tunnel to get away from that crowd. I hope Michigan Stadium does it better than what Spartan Stadium did it the first game.
And I think that's one of the reasons like Michigan kind of like held off a year because last year I think it became legal in Michigan last season. That's why Michigan State started. I think Michigan was kind of like vetting the system. Like, all right, let's see how it goes. Let's learn from the mistakes made by other institutions and try to come up with a better way. Who's really buying beer anyway, though? Like the lines are going to be out the door. Everybody tailgates before and after. Like how much?
Well, so that's my thing with the whole Walmart Wolverine thing. I have a feeling a lot of those guys stay at the tailgate.
Yeah, exactly.
So now a lot of those people might come in because they can get drinks and beer there. I think it's a great financial move for Michigan. I think it could raise some problems, but it's not East Lansing. You don't have the kind of problems that you do in A2 that you do over in East Lansing. Go Green. I love you guys. But I mean, at the same point, when I was at State, we had the MAC riots, the Munn Field riots, because they were telling us that next year we couldn't tailgate at Munn Field, and so they put chicken wire up against the little openings at Munn Field, and that night we surrounded the field, took over the field, and the next thing you know, the riot gear police had us moving all the way up to MAC and Grand River, and it turned out to be a terrible thing. These are college kids.
Yeah.
When you start taking away things from frat parties and like they have for the last 20 years, you gotta have some enjoyment. To be honest,
have some couches to burn. You know.
When I read it, in fact, the Gunston Street couch were my buddies.
How many couches have you burned, Anson?
I haven't burned any, but I have watched quite a few burn.
Anson, 3:30 game. Here you go.
Flame on.
3:30 game. East Lansing, a big game. Let's say this is when Michigan State's typically a good team. Let's take it back 6, 7, 8 years when you guys really were kicking the UNO out of this guy right here. What does a 3:30 game setup look like? You start what time? What time you get going? What spots do you hit? Take me through East Lansing on a big game.
I mean, when it's a 3 o'clock game, you're going to see it really starting at about 10, 11, where like all the kids are coming out.
Okay.
You see the early games and people are just
10 or 11 from the first night. You mean overnight? You mean?
No, I mean in the morning because the night before.
No, I mean overnight.
They got to sleep a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the early games, the noon games. I mean, it's an early free for all. The thing that I worry about with this move is what we saw last year, one of the very first and only night games between Michigan and Michigan State that we'd ever seen. When you start adding in alcohol to this and the game's close, the teams are actually both in it, which we didn't. That was not the case this last year. It's a fuse that can certainly be ignited.
Tom Maswell, what's going on? I see that finger is working.
I was looking at Twitter to see if I had any other good stuff to talk about. I know the Tigers are on the road. They start tonight.
Talk about those Tigers.
Tigers start tonight. Hey, Max. Tigers start tonight. 6-game road trip starts in Arizona. Let's face it, the last 2 games have been horrible. They've been shut out in 18 straight innings. 19 straight, I'm sorry. 10 extra innings, and then 9 the next day against the lowly Florida Marlins, Miami Marlins now. Now they get the Diamondbacks. They got to come back from this road trip. They got to at least have 3 wins out of 6.
Yeah, they should
to get back here. They're under 500 for the first time all season, so that's not boding well right now.
They lost a series to the Marlins that are one of the worst teams in the MLB. They lost a series to the Yankees that should have been their series. They lost a series to the Cardinals that should have been their series. Tarek Skubal is taking the mound tonight, 5-0.
Stopper.
5-0 is the
stopper.
ace, Tarek Skubal. He is very, very in the Cy Young race. Can we get some bats? Can we help the pitchers out?
Javi Baez is having one of the worst years.
He's the
in
worst
Major League
offensive
history.
player in the MLB.
His ops, on-base percentage and slugging are .400 right now in May. He's got like 2 extra base hits. He's just lost. He cannot be found. And it sucks. They just got to bench him, but they got to pay him. No one's going to take him. They just got to take it like a man, sit him on the bench, pay his salary, and let someone else play shortstop.
He's making Mendoza look like an all-star.
Yep.
I sent something into the chat, but nobody paid attention because I sent stuff off Instagram versus X. My apologies. But it was a former GM, talking about Javi Baez. He said when Javi was in his height, when Javi was one of those guys with the Cubs, he said he watched him one night. I can't remember exactly the quote was, but he said he watched him one night. I think they were up. He swung at 3 pitches when they had runners on the corner or they had a chance to win that game. He said, I noticed in Javi Baez, he's a selfish individual that just swings. He doesn't necessarily care about the team. He doesn't necessarily care about what's going on within that diamond except himself. When you start watching how it just doesn't look like he cares, with the exception of defense. We know he loves defense. That's where he makes his bread and butter. But he just seems like a selfish individual that does not care. I think that's what bothers Detroit fans most of all. He just looks like he doesn't give a you-know-what because he's getting you-know-what.
Just put Zach McKinstry at shortstop until Ryan Kreidler comes up. He's injured. Once he gets healthy, he could play shortstop, young guy. They didn't go after guys like J.D. Martinez because Scott Harris has his way of playing ball. He wants to play it with the young kids. He doesn't want to take at-bats away. Sure, J.D. Martinez would have been a great fit for this team, but he could only play designated hitter. So Torkelson was basically a designated hitter for a while. Now he's starting to play better. But Javi Baez is an absolute hole in your lineup, and you can't have that. It's an automatic out or worse right now.
Yeah, 100% or it hit you into a double play. Maz, look, we got 4 minutes left in the show. Got to talk about the Preakness, man. You got to give me some odds, some names. You got to take me to who I should be betting on because last time I trusted you, and we had the 2 and 3 horses.
Yep, and the 4.
2, 3, and 4. Yep. Mystic Dan came out of nowhere. Shout out to D Eagle who won that one. But what are we doing? What are we betting? What's it looking like?
Well, I'll put Pete on the mic here with me.
Oh, that's right. Pete's very good at this.
You got to come back with him. You got to come back with Mystic Dan out of the 5 hole. There's only 8 horses in this race. We had a scratch, so there's 8 horses running in this race. I got Mystic Dan. If he runs the same race as he ran in the Derby, it's a shorter race, 1 mile and 3/16. He should get to the finish line first or second. And I like Imagination. That's Bob Baffert. He's been blackballed. We all know about Bob Baffert. His number 1 horse was that 4, that Muth. Right. He got scratched. Guess what? He's got the number 9, Imagination. I believe that he will be first or second in this race. Pete, how about you?
Well, Maz, it's going to sound boring, but I actually kind of agree with you there because, like you said, Bob Baffert has imagination, and Bob Baffert knows, obviously, how to train his horses, and he is going to give Mystic Dan all he can give him to come, play the come catch me if you can game that Bob Baffert usually plays. I think Mystic Dan is going to have trouble catching imagination in this race. But also,
there we go. That's what I was waiting for.
The also.
Yep,
Absolutely.
the also.
This Catching Freedom.
Yes, he'll be there too.
Yeah, Catching Freedom with Flavian Pratt. Don't be surprised if he's the one that could gobble them all up like Pac-Man at the end. If Mystic Dan and Imagination are just fighting it out.
There you go.
They pause.
There's your guys. You got your numbers.
Catching Freedom.
3, 5, 9.
3, 5, and 9
That's
for sure.
your 9. You want the
3,
superfecta? Throw the
5.
gray horse in. Seize the gray. Put the 6 in for 4. 3, 5, 9, 6.
6 in the 4 spot.
3, 5, 9, 6 in the Preakness tomorrow on NBC.
Mugatu.
You
go with the upset, huh?
He's bringing his derelict line, Mugatu.
What is on deck for Anson Wells this weekend?
This weekend, I am getting prepped for Movement. Detroit at its finest.
Next week, correct?
That's next weekend.
Yeah,
yep.
I love
So we've got
Movement.
a bunch of shows.
My kid
last
needs
week.
a couple tickets, by the way.
What's that?
My kid needs a couple
She's
tickets.
going to Movement?
Man, I'll
She
tell you.
don't miss.
I don't know if I will let her go
She
that
don't
way.
miss.
Yeah, Movement. You can't miss. If you're a Detroiter, you got to get downtown
Better be
next
the older
weekend.
daughter.
The only thing I've ever seen better in this city was the draft last month.
And it's on Hart Plaza, right?
Yep, down at Hart Plaza.
Yep.
People from all over the world are coming in, and we are the Mecca. Techno
techno
was
music.
created
Yep.
here.
No,
This is the
100%.
oldest electronic music festival in the world as well.
Is it a 2-day?
It was a 3-day.
What's that?
It's a 3-day?
It's Saturday, Sunday, and
Monday.
Monday. So I'll be spending this weekend prepping. We have a bunch of shows downtown next weekend. So
It's also the only time that they allow the city of Detroit to stay open past 2 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
100%. I won't be there this year, man.
And that's Memorial Day weekend.
It is Memorial Day weekend time. As away yourself, what do you got going this weekend, buddy? Besides the Preakness?
This weekend, I'm just chilling. Maybe open the pool. I gotta, get.
Okay.
Maybe I'll open the pool.
Maybe I will come this year. You
I just might open the
I
pool.
haven't been able to make it. Maybe
We'll have a
I'll
little
come
barbecue for you. You got to cook though.
Hey,
I'm a
say
lousy
less.
barbecue.
I'm used to that. I actually love it. I cooked
I know
before I
that.
came in today.
You're the chef.
Pete,
Yes, sir.
what you got going on this weekend, buddy?
Gonna play a little poker online, and I got a few. I repair video games on the side, so I got a few projects to do for some neighbors.
Any pinball situations going on? Is
No
done for
pinball
right
this
now?
weekend, my friend. No, we're gonna take it easy. Back at it on Monday.
I hope you tilt.
Silent Mike.
Thanks.
What's going on in your silent weekend, sir?
Nothing much, just hanging with the fam.
Gotta love Silent Mike, man. He never let you down. Never let you down.
I know what you're doing.
What am I doing this weekend?
I don't know. I see Max here.
Hey, look, man. You know what time it is.
Yeah, Bray. What's your big weekend plans?
Probably watch the Preakness tomorrow. Concert. I think Mike Epps has a comedy show at the Fox. I'll be attending that.
Oh, really?
Oh, nice.
He does. There's a camp, a high school camp at Howell High School Sunday. So I'll be attending that from 10 to 1. So, not too much, but a couple things.
no Lululemon in store for you this weekend.
Nah, I had to take a break. That stuff's expensive.
I bet.
That stuff's expensive. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. This is Woodward Sports Network, where we try to bring you the best and the brightest in Detroit sports. Try to bring you the best and brightest people, and I think that's why Anson, Tom, Mazway, myself, Pete, and Silent Mike work here, is we're giving you the best of the best. We appreciate you in the chat. Appreciate the conversation. Look, at the end of the day, we're not always going to agree, but we're always going to show love. We're always going to show respect.
Amen.
So respect those comments. Respect everybody's opinion. Everybody has a right to say what they believe. Last time I checked, it's the first.
America.
See you guys next week. Watch yourself over there.
Well done, Bray.